JSS Lathaben.
Jai Sachidanand.
Deepakanandji, please do three mantra. Lathaben will follow.
Namo Vitragai.
Namo Vitragai.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Vajjayanam.
Namo Vajjayanam.
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam.
Namo Loe Sava Sahunam.
Eso Panchanamukkaro.
Eso Panchanamukkaro.
Savapavapranasano.
Savapavapranasana.
Mangalanam cha Sauvesim.
Mangalanam cha Sarvesim.
Padamam Havai Mangalam.
Padamam Havai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand.
JSS Pulinanandji. We have been talking about Kalam number 1, 2, 3. So if anybody has anything to share. Lathaben, you want to share? You can unmute yourself, anybody. Lathaben, you want to share something? Pooja? No, you want to say something, Pulinanandji, while people are still coming and thinking?
Well, it is homework, you see, and
Yeah, right.
it is necessary.
Right.
Okay, what will happen is, at times we will find that the whole week goes very well, and no application is necessary. But sometimes in interaction with people, under certain situations, we may happen to break the kalam, in the heat of the moment, or maybe jokingly also you might say something which might break the first or second kalam, might happen to hurt someone's ego and all that. So at times you may feel things are going fine, but one never knows when it will not go fine. So a daily practice of going one order deep, although we say the no kalams in our normal Pratavidi prayers as a part of the whole Charan Vidhi, a shade of more focus, a shade of more Jagrati would be helpful, especially when we come across a situation, oh, I slipped on this and I happened to hurt this. That awareness will come instantaneously, because most of us are generally aware and are very well connected online since a long time. That will tell us that where we still have something inside me which is prompting me, or which is still not making me aware that I am hurting someone's ego. It will throw light on on your own potapon, or on our own design of where things are. For example, if I am talking to someone who is a little less aware with me, who is a little less, in very loose terms, not the right word really speaking, less thinking power or less understanding power or less IQ, not a very good word to use, but something like that. And my thinking is going very fast. As we say, RPM, revolutions are very fast, and someone's revolutions are shared slower. And then I'm trying to explain him, and then in spite of which he goes tangential and not able to catch my point. I will get irritated. I like this. In such cases, we may happen to slip on the first column. You may say a word or sentence which may hurt the person. Now, this is one instance. There could be other instances. So then that brings about an awareness in my Prakruti, in my file number, as to, oh, you still feel you are superior, or maybe you are superior, maybe I am superior. Superior in the sense, I understand things a little faster as compared to them. And there'll be others who will be understanding more things more faster than I can understand. So nothing that I'm on the top of the world. But now that that has happened, and you have slipped on the first column, or happen to speak by which the ego is hurt slightly. So I have to introspect. I have to introspect that in spite of the best of my intentions, why is it that I slipped? Now, in introspection, during the process of introspection, it will tell me, so why is it that I happen to speak? So one or two factors, maybe I lost my patience. I was not patient enough to let him finish, and then I say, because I lost my patience and wanted to do little cut short time and tell my point of view, I happen to just rudely cut him off, sort of. So then that tells me, okay, this is my shortcoming. This is my shortcoming. Not having enough patience. And having understood this weakness, or having, it has come in my awareness that this is my weakness, that I am impatient. So it's a good thing. So then I have to develop the skill of being patient. Listen to him calmly. See his Shuddhatma or whatever. This, if I catch and gradually cultivate the quality of patience, what will happen is it will help me all around. With this patient, with this person, with other person, with any situation, which will then lead me to a permanent Syadvad Vani, Syadvad Vartan, Syadvad Vani. And one of the factors, then going further down in introspection, I'm just giving a solid example. There are various ways of looking at it. A further inspection of the same thing, that impatience. Now, what has led to the impatience? Maybe my intellect, maybe, because I'm able to grasp things fast, and the other is not able to grasp things fast, and that leads to impatience. So then it helps me to identify the weaknesses in file number one, myself, as to what are the things which are not anchoring me in the soul, are making me impatient. In this case, I use impatient as one of the examples. So I identify my intellect and I identify my impatience. So then I have to gradually understand and try to develop an understanding as to how can I rein in these two things. How can I become less? How can my intellect dominate me less? Number one. How my impatience can be reduced. So, and I tell you, whatever R&D we are doing during our now Kalams or during our Agna Purusharths, we are ultimately understanding our Prakruti more better and better. We are understanding the shortcomings, which are sort of wheels, on the awareness of Shuddhatma. The light of Shuddhatma, it's a wheel, and I'm not able to remain in that Shuddhatma, where I'm pure soul state. So as and when I understand the wheels, the obstructions of the, I gradually eliminate them. And this is the process of going towards Keval Jnana, a total unveiling of the pure soul. The Purusharth that we have started of now Kalam, for example, all these Purusharth, now Kalam or 5 Agnas, all ultimately lead to understanding the file number one, the Prakruti, our own Prakruti, the own wheels, the discharge, Rodman, Mayalo, all that stuff. So, incidentally, I happen to share that why the first Kalam 1, Kalam 2, Kalam 3 are the means to achieve this end. And this will happen in parts and pieces. 80% of the time it's fine. But 10-20% where we slip on it, that's where we have to just pick up. You have to pick up that thing. Oh yeah, this is the shot. In under these situations, you are not remaining the parameters of Syadvad Vani Vardhana. And that's the process of identifying the weaknesses and working on how to eliminate it. Okay. So by way of experiences, all of you should be focusing on file number 1. And incidentally, this may be happening. And while we are on this thing, it may so happen that you may have an experience to narrate, which may be related to 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th Kalam also. So you are free to do it beforehand also. Although we are going in a structured manner of 1, 2, 3, which is necessary. But in case you have an experience, you can share out of turn also. That's all I have to say. The crux of all this is how much of awareness is increasing. Awareness of our file number. And I tell you, it will be mind-boggling. In the sense, we will find that we have a lot of scope for increasing awareness. And that's the whole process. That's the whole process. So this is what I had to share. And let's see, anything else anyone wants to share, or then maybe we can work on the 4th Kalam.
Shaila Ben wants to say something. Shaila Ben?
Yeah. JSS Aptaputra Pulinanandji, JSS Aptaputra Deepakanandji, JSS Aptaputra Mahatmas. Yeah, my experience this week was I slipped twice or thrice when I was encountering. In fact, the mornings started very well with I did my Charan Vidhi and I did my morning prayers and everything. I was in a very good state of mind. I thought, okay, I was very grounded, and I thought, okay, I was kept reminding myself because I knew I was going to meet a sticky file that day, and I asked for the strength to to solve this with an equanimity and to hold my this thing. But it started well, and again I noticed I lost my lose my temper, but a little I just slipped a little bit. But what I noticed because of this constant with this because of satsang and because of constant reminding myself, I was able to immediately stop myself and then bring myself back and try to look at file number 1 and see that what I'm try to introspect, like you mentioned, and find out what I'm doing wrong. And I realized it was it is like a mirror, because it is my perception of my opinion about that person that was actually creating this reaction from me. So I think I'm hoping that is the right way to approach this, the introspection, and try to find out what file number 1 is doing wrong, because the fault is always within us. So is that what I should be doing? I mean, because I was able to control both the times, but it slipped. It like I started saying something and then I immediately stopped and tried to calm down, and I became calm after that. So because so I was wondering if this is how I should be approaching it, because every time I meet this person, I should not have this kind of a reaction. So is this the right way to approach this? Like, should I be doing the introspection like this, or find out what the fault is with file number 1?
Deepakanandji?
Jai Satchidanand. See, we can try to understand this way, that having got realized, we are purified. But our body self, relative body self, is still impure. It's like, if someone is running a factory, production unit, and it creates a lot of pollutants. And that's how, through past several lives, our body self is polluted. With what? Violence, hurting others, hatred, dislikes. And the outcome is our mind, speech, body are not normal, are not perfect, are not ideal. So our purified state, our liberated state will only get proved only when our relative body self become perfect, ideal, and normal. And due to that, Dada Bhagwan has given wonderful guidance for ourselves, which he lived an exemplary life of being in 9 dimensions all the time. And he has given us as a guidance to check our discharging relative body self, whether it is as per 9 dimensions, that is, it is ideal or not. So it becomes our duty in our intermediate enlightened state, in which we will continuously observe. And this will happen, like Dada said, that you do this 3 times a day. The purpose of doing it 3 times a day is not a number, but it's like reminding ourselves constantly, because our relative body self is getting discharged, or it is discharging 24/7. And I don't believe, at least I can say for myself, that it is it remains in any of the it remains in any of the hold on just a minute. It remains in any of the 9 dimensions. So the end or the outcome is, when we are vigilant and we keep observing ourselves, then we will definitely find flaws in our discharging relative body self, which is under total control of universal cosmic power of Vyavasthit, which Dada said, elaborated scientific circumstantial evidence. So that's all our job, and it becomes our duty to continuously correct our body self. There is our, commitment as per Agna, that by relative viewpoint, I am Deepakanand. So with that understanding that I am Deepakanand by relative viewpoint, so by relative viewpoint, in the sense, my relative, which is not perfect, which is not ideal, which is not normal, it is my duty to make it normal, ideal, perfect. And that's what I do, of course, with that inner understanding and of the first Agna. Second Agna is I am pure soul by real viewpoint. So that's how, or that has become my duty to correct my body self, relative body self, to make it perfect, normal, ideal. So this is how we are not vigilant enough, maybe to reveal that okay, these were the mistakes during the week, but I believe during the day itself, most of the time, none of the diamonds are followed. So that is the level of imperfection. But on the other side, Dada has liberated us even when our relative body self is absolutely abnormal, imperfect, and there is no question of idealness. You don't see that, because every other time, at least that dislike part is always there. And one wonderful thing what Dada has said, if there is liking part, then the disliking part is always there.
Literally.
And so that's a minimum, but that's not the level we are. We have hatred. Yes, through His grace, the 2 part, the highest part, that is violent part, and hurting others has stopped in principle. But on the discharging part, it is still there. So we are left with nothing but continuous resolution to remain in 5 Agnas, and the guidance is 9 diamonds, and the solution is we keep correcting ourselves continuously. And that's a wonderful process that it keeps us busy all the time. And if that is happening, then you will experience your separated state, your, I'll say, bliss all the time, because you're not committing, no, mistakes are committed, but you are correcting it all the time, most of the time. Jai Satchidanand.
Jai
Jai
Satchidanand.
Satchidanand. Pulinanandji?
You see, just to, in a different light and different perspective, Sailaben and all of us, why are we doing this? Why are we doing the Purusharth of, say, 5 Agnas, of no Kalams? Why? Let's just, can you, a light discussion. I'm just asking
Why?
Sailaben.
Yeah.
Why are we doing all this? What is the end purpose?
The end purpose is to understand that we are Shuddhatma, to remain in that state, to remain in the Shuddhatma, not to settle all our accounts. By
To
remaining
remain in
Shuddhatma state.
Shuddhatma, to settle accounts. Why to settle accounts?
That is the discharge part that we are settling in this.
I understand, but why, you're right. I'm saying, I'm just probing a shade further. Why to
Yes.
settle the accounts?
Because this is how I think this gen we have to, because we're no longer charging after getting the gyan. So we have to discharge everything in this.
Discharge is taking place.
this
You're absolutely right. Ultimately, basically, we want to go to moksha or be liberated.
Yeah, that is our end goal. Yes.
So we want to be liberated, having realized that, oh, we are the pure soul, we are not the body or the name bearer. And hence now we are doing all the Purusharth. Say 5 Agnas, now Kalam, whatever. So it is like something like this, and I'm just trying to give an analogy to put our Purusharth in proper perspective, in a larger frame of mind, not restricted to now. I'm taking a little broad framework. Supposing a person has taken some drinks, he has got intoxicated, and in a heightened state of intoxication, he has created a lot of ruckus, spoken all nonsense to people, hurt people, damaged furniture at home, thrown things here and there, and in rage, in fury, he has hurt people, hurt furniture, damaged a lot of things physically. And then as his intoxication comes down and he becomes normal, and then he says, when people tell him, why you did, he says, no, I have not done anything. I don't know anything. So he had done it in a state of intoxication where he was not in his senses and has
not
done all this.
Yes.
So when he comes back to his senses, what will people say? Now you have done all this damage. Now you will have to repair or recover, or
yes,
make it all normal.
Yes.
Compensate for all the loss that you have generated in terms of broken furniture,
Yes.
and in terms of hurting people's egos, So he'll have to gradually do all the repairing, corrective action, and compensation.
Yes.
So that then there is nobody's claim left. So something similar is with all of us. That in our state of intoxication of ignorance. In our ignorant state, that I am the name bearer, I am the doer, I am so and so, I am the husband, I am the wife, I am the boss. We have damaged and created a lot of karmas. Now that we have awakened, we have got the awareness. No. Oh, no. I am not the body or the name bearer, but I am the pure soul. But in that ignorant state, and the simile is in that inebriated state, intoxicated state, whatever ruckus that I have created, that has to be repaired. Similarly, when in our ignorant state, whatever karmas that we have formed have now got to be cleansed. Isn't it? So this cleansing process is what is happening.
Oh, it's beautiful the way you mentioned it. You're basically saying that we're not aware. Yeah, we're not having that awareness.
Cleansing of file number 1. Ultimately, what is file number 1? What it is mind, body, speech, as we say. And what is this mind, body, speech? It is nothing but collection of atoms, no? All parmanus, as we say.
Parmanus.
We have only one. So those are the wheels on the pure soul, the Shuddha. So if all those parmanus get cleared out, then automatically the Atma, your soul, is liberated and it goes to moksha. You see? So whatever we have done in our ignorant state, in liberated state, is now we are cleansing in our awareness state of the pure soul. So that file number and whatever then. Now this is a general awareness, nothing very specific about it. But now Kalam, 5 Agnas are all the means to achieve that end. Having understood that, in my ignorant state, I have charged this and I have charged that, which we are now understanding what I have charged by way of symptomatic interactions that come to us now. You interacting with that person you don't like, or you interacting with the sticky file, or you interacting with a good person or a person you like, your best friend, for example. So in all those interactions, all those likes, dislikes will come up, which will throw on light what is it that I have charged in my ignorant state. What is coming out is what we have put in. Nothing has come out of thin air.
Yes.
Thoughts about wealth, thoughts about Vishay, thoughts about pride, thoughts about whatever worldly thing, children, house, whatever, is what we have charged. And that is what is coming out. So now what is coming out, it throws a light on what we have charged in our ignorant state. And now that is what we are trying to realize. What belief system have I charged? What expectations I have charged? What likes, dislikes I have charged? That will come, that will be revealed to us when we interact and things come out by way of speech, by way of actions.
Okay, I got it.
That is the realization we have to then understand. Oh, Shaila Ben, or in my case, Pulinanand, you have charged this. Now this has come out. Now say bye-bye to it. Clean and say bye-bye. Clean and say bye-bye. That's all. You have to just release those things.
Okay, got it.
We are releasing all our atoms in physical sense and releasing our rag dvesh in the other sense. What are we releasing? Krodman Maya is what we are releasing.
Yeah, we are basically releasing rag dvesh. I understand that.
We are only releasing what we have charged.
Yes.
And that by when we see, atoms are there, they are charged. So the
Parmanus
effect,
are charged.
whatever is will come up, and once that effect goes away, the atoms are released. It's like coating onto the atoms, you know. So whenever all this thing happens, ultimately what we have to understand is we are releasing something. That whatever is happening is releasing. So be happy and understand, oh, this is what you have charged, this is releasing. So say bye-bye and let it go. And not only bye-bye, we have to then, if you have hurt someone, then do that pratikrama, or if you're not hurt, understanding what we have charged in your particular case, you have charged dislike to someone, so that dislike has come to you. So what I'm basically attempting to attack is what is that charge I have done, the dislike that I have put, or the like that I have.
Yes.
So that is what we have to realize in this process of now Kalam. Ultimately, the end goal is to realize that thing that we have charged. And it is that global realization of what we have charged will help us to release this much faster. Otherwise, it is that the preliminary Purusharth is just saying, now Kalam, I've broken the now Kalam. I say sorry, I come back, say sorry, come back. But going one step deeper down is trying to understand what you have charged. And then that discharge has come, release it, and resolve not to do it. So if I get hold of what is that charge thing, my like, dislike, my belief, then and I try to attack that or change that, then it will shed a lot of weaknesses. You know, all my likes, dislike will go one shot, but not person A, person B, person C. I don't know whether I'm coming across well.
No, I think it is very beautifully you mentioned, because instead of just saying, doing pratikraman, if you can go to the root cause and find out what, like you said, what I've charged, we'll be able to attack that instead of just saying pratikraman. Yes, yes.
So this is the means to go there. Straight away we cannot go over there. This is the stepping stone to
stepping
will
stone.
lead
Yes,
us
yes,
to
I
that.
got it.
Now that we are in this Purusharth and have come to a certain level of understanding, this is a subtle point which now we can understand and it will help us further in our Purusharth.
Yes. I think this is, you have actually found out the bhavarth of this thing. So I think it's very useful. I mean, you're telling me the bhavarth of this actual, the Kalam.
Where does it lead to? Where does it lead?
Yes, where does it lead to? Yes. That's okay. I think that is, I think I'll try to follow this now. Try to find out the, like you said, try to
understand to be kept in the back of our mind. What's happening and why it's happening. Just why it's happening. Piece of understanding to be kept at the back of our mind. So then we can approach our Purusharth with greater vigor, understanding.
Awareness and determination. Okay. Yes, very beautifully said. Thank you. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. Dattaben. Dattaben, please unmute.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry, my broadband, my Wi-Fi is very bad. My network is bad. It keeps getting cut off. So I'm just kind of turned off the video to make sure that I'm audible.
That's
okay.
Perfect.
See, I realize I have a long way to go in practicing all that. I'm just trying. But I realize unless one internalizes to a very great extent, this doesn't come like a second nature. Like, for instance, I'll tell you what happened to me yesterday. I just went out to shop, and this was such a busy place, and I was looking for a place to park. Okay, and the first time, and I kept driving down far away from the place where I wanted to go, looking for a place, and then every other place there was, they had barricaded and said, you can't park because the shops had taken the frontage. In India, what happens? Everybody puts a barricade and says, you can't park in front of my shop. So I kept driving down. Finally, I got a slot. I said, I just drove down. I switched off the engine. And the watchman of that place came down and told me, you can't park here. Now, I was frustrated. And my first reaction was to just tell him, how on earth can you say that? I mean, this is a public road and I can park. And then he tried to tell me, no, please don't do it. The minute he uttered that, I said, I kind of wanted to yield, but my pride, I really needed to park somewhere. I didn't want to take the car. I told him, no. This is the public area. I want to park and I'm going to park only 10 minutes. And at that moment, I had totally forgotten about all who I am, what I am, all that. And then that person, he said, you want me to lose my job? When he said that, suddenly like a flash of, oh my God, what am I doing? I said, I'm so sorry. I told him, okay, let me take it out. When I started obliging, then he said, no, don't worry. He removed the barricade. He made room for me. He said, now you can park and you can just go. I realized the minute you show a little, the minute you realize, I realized, it was something else acting, and automatically the switch happened. My tone changed, everything changed. And I was about to open a new file, and I said, I'm so sorry. And, I just came away, after thanking him while taking my car out. Sometimes I realize I need to internalize it to such an extent so it becomes my second nature, and not to really kind of, lose patience. Not to get impatient. I have a long way to go. This is just one instance because it just happened yesterday. There are small things on a day-to-day life. I get impatient, but I realize that I'm very conscious. I just don't lose temper. I mean, there is a lot of difference between the Lata who used to be and who is now, but I still have a long way to go.
Thank you, Pulinanandji.
No, it's very good example. You see, this is precisely what I was trying. That we are in this example, you have discovered yourself, your Prakruti that is, and you have found that you are a long way to go. Itself is a big discovery. And Dada Bhagwan said it's nothing, not a big deal. Since infinite lives we have been living in this ignorant state, so it will take 1 or 2 births to cleanse up all the mess, na? And it's not a very long way, for a Purusharthi Mahatma who is really hell bent on Purusharth, very sincere in Purusharth, if I say so. For him, it's about 14 years time frame Dada Bhagwan had said. A very Purusharthi, it's 11 years, otherwise it's 14 years. Typically, in 14 years, you can exhaust a large part of your Prakruti. So, long way, it's not too long. It's basically understanding. And in parts and pieces, we keep understanding we're refining our understanding of the Prakruti. It will be a cumulative process. You have understood 2 points. The next time you'll understand 4 points, you'll understand 16 points, more and more. It will be a cumulative process, a rapid understanding and rapid unveiling of the yourself. Just to comment on your example, on your experience, you see, it's a wonderful experience. Basically, what you have learned from this is that the moment you became humble, the moment you had an empathy with the other person's dilemma, the moment the watchman said that, do you want me to lose my job? You immediately resonated with him and you had this empathy for him, you see. And then he also became soft. So the learning here is, Lata Bennett, that moment we let go of our ego, we let go of our intellect by way of saying this is right, this is public place, how you can tell me not to park? Because that's our ego which has told us what is right and wrong. Our intellect which has told us what is right and wrong. And our ego has reinforced it. And with that reinforced ego, the agitation that has come within you, reflect partially in your words, hurt the other person, you see. Now, the moment you came back because of empathy, you don't want the other person to lose his job. So you had an empathy and you said, okay, fine, sorry. So you generated humility. You reduced your ego, that ego that was gone into that intellect and right and wrong stuff that came back. You became humble. You had a soft corner, if I may say so. And that soft corner again went and impacted the other person. And he in turn felt, okay, no, I remove the barricade, you also depart. You understood him, he understood you. And then how via media and a solution came. So the learning here is, if we let go of our ego, our sense of right and wrong, have a sense of empathy, which is also reflected in our global bhavana of not to hurt anybody by mind, body, speech. So in this case, you didn't want to hurt the other person. You didn't want him to lose his job. So when we go to that frame of mind, that thinking, what happens is it reflects on the other person. He also softens down. His ego also goes down. I am rigid on my ego stand. The other person will be rigid on his ego stand. So the Dada Bhagwan says that when we say Sambhava Nikal or squaring up equanimously, is basically you withdraw your ego, your sense of right and wrong. Automatically the other thing will fall down. So this is a very appropriate example.
That's true. That's exactly what happened.
The same example, I am only just analyzing and putting it in proper words so that you catch the principle of what happened, Here it is just an episode that I had a problem. I was going down the street, no parking slot available. One I found, then there was right and wrong, and then I did it. And I was not aware, and I hurt the person, then I aware, and I didn't hurt. It's perfect. But it's a limited perspective, the whole thing. The deeper learning here is how your ego, you tapered down, generated empathy, humility, and it had as a resounding reaction from the other side also. Now, this is what we have to learn. And if we cultivate this habit within me, as you said, it has to become second nature for you as well as for me, as well as for everyone. For us, these agnas have to become second nature. It has to get ingrained and imbibed in all of ourselves so well that it just operates on auto mode. Today we have to do Purusharth and bring that awareness. Later on, over a period of time, it will automatically pop out. You don't even have to do the Purusharth. The Purusharth will pop out. As you said, it gets ingrained or becomes second nature. So the learning is humility, empathy, not hurting other person. That is will help you to square. Now let me go one step ahead. In this case, you were fortunate that the other person responded equally politely and made room for you. It may so happen in some instances that the person may not respond favorably. He may still be adamant and rude. Remember, at that time, we may feel little bad, that I'm so nice, the other fellow is not responding. But still take it easy. We have to do what we have to do. We have to square up our ego, our humility. That is file number 1, that is of course. And just square up that. But generally speaking, what will happen is when my ego is down, irrespective of what the other person responds, the other person may be polite, the person may not be polite, may be rude. But it will not impact me because my ego anyway I have put it down. Because the impact of other person comes to my ego. When my ego itself is reduced or going down, it will anyway not have an impact. Because who is hurt? File number 1 is hurt. So it will have a greater awareness, a greater sense of joy of not getting hurt or not being affected by worldly dealings. If we expand on this, and keep that as the learning, then you see you'll have immense application of this whole phenomena. Today it was this particular parking instance, it can be something else, something. Everywhere this phenomena is common, this understanding is common. And it will have a snowballing effect and you will have an enhanced awareness very rapidly. Well, that's all I want to say. JSS.
Thank you, Pulinanandji.
Bhagwanji?
Hey, Sachidanand. First of all, if we try to think and analyze why at all do we come across such situations? So it is like because of the past mistakes, we are bound to pass through such episodes of suffering. So it is said that what was caused out of doership, that is charging egoism or charging karma, when it gets discharged, you have to pass through such suffering. And in such situations, when we contemplate and decide that we want to remain in Dada Bhagwan, then when we come across a situation, then first immediately you will see that person with 2 viewpoints, and he is coming, you don't know, because it is a public place. So apparently he has no right to tell you. But then still he comes with that authority and tell you to go away from there. So, but because you have decided to remain in Agna, and the 4th Agna, that I want to settle every situation in an amicable way, in a balanced way. So naturally your speech will change, the other person's mind, speech, body effects will also change, and everything will get settled. But in case if it doesn't settle, like what Pulinanandji said, that you may not agree also. Although you said you want to remain in the Agnas, but if that is not there, then our past force of egoistic dealing can come and it can create a big hassle. So in this whole process, before coming into situation, like before getting out of home itself, you decide that I will remain in Agnas, I'll see pure soul in everyone I come across, and then I'll settle all the files, all interactions in an amicable way. So with that vigilance, with that resolution, that vigilance will naturally be there. And most of the time you said you want to make that as a second nature will eventually happen. For Dada, he said, I have passed through generations, and that's how in this life I am a living example of 5 Agnas. I don't have to, I live in 5 Agnas. But this is the process. Most important thing, what we have to understand, that we are destined to pass through such suffering. But in that suffering, when we remain in Dada's Agnas, gradually we overcome such tricky situations because of our decision to remain in Agna and specifically handle files in an amicable way. So that the amicable dealing will eventually happen. But when it doesn't happen through retrospection, we have to correct ourselves. And that's how, through such back and forth, such corrections, first resolution, then vigilance, and then observing what is really happening during the situation, and then on retrospection, correct all the mistakes committed. That's how we become perfect. Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
Thank you, Deepakanand. Thank you.
Jai Satchidanand. Okay, Pooja, you want to share something?
Sure. I had several experiences this week. I think the main ones are with my children. You know, sometimes they're very quick to say something that's just small but pierces your heart so deeply, and you have to be like we're saying, very patient and not rebuttal and not blow up the situation. And there have been many instances this week where I've, you know, just not said anything, let things cool down, because I have to still continue being there. You know, I have still schoolwork to do. If I start up something, then, you know, nobody's going to want to do their homework, or nobody's going to want to do the next things that we have in line. So there were a few stark comments that I had this week that just, you know, pierced me very deeply. But instantly I just remembered that one line that, you know, most of these things will, from one of the Kaviraj's buds, that like most of the Vani bombs that you will get will be detonated by the people within your own home. And that hit, that was like, that's so true. And I think this Purusharth helped. The other instances were probably with, you know, my other close files at home. And I've been able to identify what kind of spurs puja, right? Like where she goes wrong with with breaking the Kalam 1 especially. And those I'm still working on. I've identified, you know, the few factors that kind of pinch and poke when those are, a lot of it's to do with pride, a lot of it's to do with respect. It's very, very common thread. You know, if somebody undermines you or your work, you know, things that can't really be valued or monetary be assessed, you know, what like domestic chores and things like that don't necessarily bring in any type of revenue or things like that, they don't show your work. It's hard to justify your position sometimes, and sometimes you just take the comments and things that come, and you move on.
Okay, Deepakanandji.
Jai Satchidanand. That's true. Our home people, they are the one who will free us from our past karmas. So all these situations where we spend most of our time, like maybe 12 to 14 hours at home, so definitely they would be instrumental in settling our karmas. So we have to pay attention, and we have to ask ourselves, why do they do like that? So the only reason is they are your kids. So why should they behave like that? But no, they are your kids, yes. But then the way they deal with you is your karma. past effects of the past karma. So when you understand that, accept that, and with Dada's Agna, then things will gradually change in the sense because of Agnas. Agnas are how they work in the background, that because those are not just simple words. He has lived those principles and he has got the results. So when we remain in Agnas in all these situations, then that's how gradually our dealing will become amicable. So first of all, home people are the one who will become instrument, and then outside people, as they are as per our karma, they will happen. And very important thing is we have to pass through those destined suffering. And in all those suffering, you don't become sufferer in that. At the same time, you free puja from all those entanglement of karma. Free her from that karma. She is blind. She is driven by her intellect. And intellect is nothing but ignorance, light of ignorance. And you have the wisdom of knowledge, Prajna Shakti. So with that and Agnas, you will come out gradually. Your intellect can always justify your righteousness, that this is my right, I am correct. But then it is intellect. Intellect means it is always under the influence of ignorance. It is not wisdom of knowledge. And wisdom of knowledge through Prajna Shakti will always illumine or guide you correctly that, hey, this is your mistake. Because intellect will always prove other persons at fault and justify you are correct. But Prajna Shakti will always give a complete picture. Why did you come across that situation wherein you had to suffer? And then you get the answer, no, I want to settle this situation, this file in an amicable way. And that will change your thinking, your speech, your behavior, and effectively it will change the other persons also, leading to amicable settlement. Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand. Pulinanandji?
No, but so I think the puja is very well summarized. It is in line with what I said previously in the beginning of the satsang, that these are all means, this Purusharth, Kalam and all are means to understand our own file number one, Prakruti, better, which he said so very well, that one or two things pierced her heart, whatever the children said by your speech. And in the process of constant vigilance, she has understood that what are the few things that's for puja. So basically, she has identified her Prakruti, some aspects, parameters of Prakruti, which are blocks for the progress, spiritual progress. Because that's all. The whole purpose is to achieve that, which she has very well summarized, and in quite a few experiences throughout the day with children and files. She has understood or become more aware of some dimensions of the whole Prakruti. So it's perfect. It's perfect. Nothing more to add.
So
Okay.
I guess I understand those, what spurs the Prakriti, but I'm not able to necessarily correct or change that behavior, and I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'm supposed to kind of watch. But that's kind of where I get stuck a little bit. Like, I know these are the things that are going to trigger me, and they still do sometimes.
Honey, you see, basically we don't have to change the behaviors, but essentially we have to change our beliefs that underlie or below the behaviors. If I have a belief that things should be done on time, and then someone doesn't do something on time, then I blow up, and then I keep changing my behavior. I should not blow up, I should not blow up. So that will only have a limiting effect. As long as that underlying belief is there, it should be on time, it will not change. But if I change my belief that no, it may be okay, things should be on time, but if they are not on time, I have to manage it. Then perhaps then your speech or behavior.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Now you are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, basically, it's the common principle. You have raised a valid point. It's raised a very valid point. We have to catch what is that belief or understanding, or what is my weakness, my growth, my man, my low, whatever, which is leading to this behavior. And I have to somehow work on that underlying weakness of growth, man, my low, or my expectations, or my beliefs. This is right, this is wrong. Until I change that, this will not happen. And one of the things which will not allow us to do that is our intellect. How I can do this is absolutely wrong. And I tell you, one of the ways of handling it, there are n number of ways. One of the ways is something is going honky donkey, something is not working all right. Just tell yourself, enjoy. Enjoy the nonsense that is going on. Enjoy the inefficiencies that are happening. Enjoy the wrong things that are happening, because it is out of your control. In case things are out of your control, some things are not in your control. How your other boss, employee, XYZ should behave, or someone at home should behave. If things are not going well and you are suffering, just tell yourself, Puja, enjoy. Enjoy what's happening, because anyway you're squaring up karma. So the intellect stops. Intellect is disturbed when it's not in alignment with the expectation. But if you don't have an expectation and you enjoy, like I want to go out and it has started pouring, rainfall and all, then I am deeply disturbed. Or here I want to go out and what's the this? But if I shall enjoy, rain to rain, so enjoy the wetness, enjoy. It's a psychological reframing of our expectation. Just a psychological reframing. Not that you're going to enjoy it. But the moment you say enjoy, the hurt that is causing to you by the things not going on in your expectation will dissipate. You say enjoy, fine, never mind. And taking a very gross example, India, say 200 years ago, was being ruled by Mughals, conquered by one emperor after another emperor. Then the British came, and then they did a lot of mess. So India was at a pinnacle at once upon a time, academically, spiritually, and all. Now all those start taking a beating, for few hundred years, everything went all wonky down. If I were living in that era, then I would be deeply disturbed. What's happening here? How these Muslim Mughals are doing like this? How these British are doing? So it is destined. It's part of their state. And it's going to take a U-turn, 100 years, some years after that, which is a post-independence. And now that we are saying politically India is now going up because of good political leadership. So if I were at that point of time, I would be deeply disturbed by way of right and wrong. But if I would say enjoy, because something good is going to happen later, I would have not felt bad. Same thing here, enjoy. Something good is happening. What is the good? Your karmas are getting exhausted and you're going towards moksha. So enjoy. This is one way to reset psychology, the intellect which is pinching you. This is one side Purusharth I'm saying. It's not in line with what we are saying. And the second thing which I said earlier was that, as you said, I'm not able to change the behavior. It's not the behavior, it's the understanding behind that, the expectation which has to change. When that will change, will happen. So one of the ways of doing is enjoy. Enjoy what the wrong is happening.
Right. Okay.
So because you're putting unnecessary pressure on yourself that the thing should be right and this is the way it should be. Forget the pressure. You try your level best, enjoy.
Mhm.
The pressure will go, the belief will go, and the behavior automatically will change. One way I've put it, it may not fit all situations, but some situations that might help.
Okay. I'll try.
I think we are finishing now. Our time is over. But I may like to add, we are reasonably well on the column 1, 2, and 3. And based on one experience of that parking lot, Dada Bhagwan said, it is leading us to the fourth column. It's leading us to the fourth column of Abhav and Purusharth. So I would just like to add that you may start the Purusharth on the fourth column as well, in your daily practice for the coming week. 1, 2, 3 is there with the fourth. We say Abhav and Purusharth means it is very loosely disliked, which at the mental level you don't like it because it's not in our line of thinking and the way we believe. And little more aggravated aggravated form of that dislike is hatred, or what we call as tiraskar, which can get reflected in speech and actions. You hate someone, it can get reflected in our speech and our actions also. So, hey Dada Bhagwan, give me the supreme strength not to have dislike or hatred towards any living being, and then not to make others do or not support anyone doing it. So let us contemplate, ask for strength of the fourth column also for the coming week, and all of us can share experiences regarding the fourth column in particular. Deepakanand, want to add something on fourth column?
Perfect. Fine.
Fourth column. So let's expand, because it's leading your experiences today. I felt that we can now go to the fourth. Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so
Okay.
now another question is next Tuesday position starts and it goes for 1 week.
So yes. Next week we will not be able to hold our satsang.
So next 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Next
right?
2 weeks. Next 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Puri, can you do 3 mantra puja please?
Sure.
Pulinanandji, 3 mantra bolo.
Deepakanand ki?
No, you.
Me? Namo Vitragay.
Namo Vitragay.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Arihantanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Siddhanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Ayariyanam.
Namo Vasayanam.
Namo Vasayanam.
Namo Loe Savasahunam.
Namo Loe Savasahunam.
Eso Panjana Mukkaro.
Eso Panchana Mukkaro.
Sauvapavak Panasano.
Savapavak Panasano.
Mangalanam Chisavesim.
Mangalanam Chisavesim.
Paramam Havai Mangalam.
Paramam Havai Mangalam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
So we will see you everybody on the 26th now, okay? So please take notes as you go along for the next 2 weeks, okay?
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand.